Okay, so far, so good. I've got my first object. And then my second sort of triangle polygon sort of created. All right, and I know that it's kind of adhering to the requirements that I had for it. So there's that. So now I've got to kind of create a second triangle for the bottom of this. And again, I'm going to, I know some of you had a hard time understanding the issue of the difference between a ridge, which points out, and a valley that points down. Okay, I want to create a ridge here. So I need to create another triangle on this side, right, that is going to keep my height about where I want it, which is about like right there. And so that object on this side is going to be a little over an inch tall, right? So I'm going to, since this edge is this edge here, right, I can actually, see what I'm saying? This was cut from here. Can you guys see that? I can actually tilt this thing over, right, and use that edge, and I'm going to say about an inch here. So check that dimension. It's a little over an inch. It's about an inch and a quarter. But remember, it's going to fold, so it won't be as tall. So let's give that a try. One of the things that I can tell you about this whole process is that when you're working in this fashion, there's a lot of trial and error. All right, so that is going to connect up here. And for this one, I might just use tape, okay? Because that's going to give me a little bit of flexibility in how I work with this. But can you guys see what's happening here? I'm creating the canopy structure up above. I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see what happens if I glue it. And I'm creating, can you guys see that I'm creating a ridge? So it's an outie, not an innie. Okay? It's kind of like discussing belly buttons. Do you have an outie or do you have an innie? Okay, so there it is. All right, let the camera see that thing. So I can take that thing and sort of set it on there and say, all right, very good. So now I've got to create the other end of this thing. And so for the other end of this, I'm going to be using this dimension because I'm attaching to this edge, right? And I think in order to make my life easier, right, for this next one, I'm going to make it to where the object that comes off of here is just a triangle because it only hits the ground at one point. Okay? There are alternates to that you guys can use if you want. And now that I'm looking at this, I suspect that I'm probably going more than 2 1/4 inches up. Let me check that. No, actually 2 1/4 is how far up. But I think I'm just under an inch back here. Okay? So I'm going to create a triangle that I'm going to place at this end to get it to stop moving. All right? And that triangle is going to have this width. All right? So here goes. I'm going to make the triangle a little bit longer than it needs to be because can you make something shorter by cutting it away? You can always make stuff shorter, right? Right. Those of you that are falling asleep, wake up, stand up, do jumping jacks, do something. As I was saying, there's several of you that are nodding off. I know I'm boring. You can make something shorter, but you can't not add to it and make it longer. So I'm going to make the triangle a little longer than it needs to be, just in case. There's that one.
How did you pick that point? That's just An inch out?
What I did is I kind of held this up here. First, I held this. So the question is, how did I pick that point that I chose to pick there? First thing I did was I picked the distance of this, and I marked a point there. Then when I was holding this over here, I tried to kind of imagine where the triangle would be. And so again, this is trial and error. There is, at this point, you're doing your best guess at this. All right? So let's see what happens. It might be too long. It might be too short. I don't know. But I'll know momentarily because I'm about to cut it and glue it. So all right, here it is. Right? And so that thing's going to go at this end. I'm going to do it this way so that the camera can see it. And that's a little low. It really is a little bit low. But what the heck? I'm going to leave it just because it's the first one. All right? So I'm going to I think I'm going to put a piece of tape on it and then I'll glue it. How many minutes am I at?
6.
6? Oh, we're still good. We are more than good. That's too low. I think I might have it turned around. Let's try flipping it over. Yes. That should help.
Was it flat on the bottom? Or is it pointy? Ah.
It's pointed. It's pointed down at the bottom. Okay, so there it is. Put a little glue on it, get it to solidify itself. Okay, there it is. I have a canopy. Oops. I have a canopy structure. It's obeying the rule. It's no taller than 2 1/4. It's no lower than about 1 inch. But now let's just say that I was not happy with how low it is here. How could I modify what I have in my hand to get this corner to come up?
Another triangle?
No. It doesn't entail adding any more pieces. What if I took this triangle here and I trimmed it just a little bit so that this started to tilt down? Would that raise the other side? It would, huh? Okay. So this part gets a little bit tricky because you're going to be cutting something that's kind of complicated. So I might try it this way. That could work. Let's give that a try. And it's going to be a pretty small adjustment that I'm going to make to it. Okay. Yeah, and that brought up that, it lowered this corner and brought up that corner. But it's still sitting fine. Why is it not teetering? It's not teetering, right? It's pretty stable. Why? Nope. Nope, it's not. Because it has essentially 3 points of contact. If you have a stool, right? You guys have all sat on stools that have 4 legs. They can teeter. But if you sit on a stool that has 3 legs, the first 2 hit the ground, the third one comes down, hits the ground, and it automatically self-levels, right? Because a triangle self-levels. That's what you have here. You have 1 point, 2 point, and a 3rd point. If I had tried to create a flat element at this end, it probably would have teetered on me. Okay? All right, so there is one. I've created one of the items that I set out to do. Okay? How many minutes am I at? 10. 10? Let's go ahead and stop that.